For a time, in the Garden of Eden, everything was peaceful and wonderful. It was like a beautiful dream come true. Adam and Eve lived there happily, surrounded by beauty, peace, and love. The sun shone gently, the birds sang happily in the trees, and the animals were friendly and playful. No one argued, no one suffered, and there was no trace of sadness. Every morning, when the dew was still shining on the leaves, God came into the garden and spoke to Adam and Eve. He was like a good friend to them, teaching them what was good, what was beautiful, and how to take care of the gifts they had received. The two of them listened to him and loved him, and their lives were filled with peace. But God wanted more than blind obedience. He wanted Adam and Eve to choose to obey him and trust him. So he gave them a simple but important command. You may freely eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day you eat from it you will surely die. That tree was beautiful, with fruit that seemed delicious, but God had clearly told them that they were forbidden to eat from it. It was a test of their trust in and love for their Creator. But there was also a cunning being in the garden. Satan, the wicked one, who did not want humans to obey God, took the form of a serpent. He was a serpent with sparkling eyes and a clever tongue. He approached Eve when she was alone and said, in a flattering voice, "Did God really say that you must not eat from any tree?" Eve replied, "We may eat from any tree, but God has said, 'You shall not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or you shall not touch it lest you die.'" But the serpent said something to her that put doubt in her heart. "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat from that tree, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like him, knowing good and evil." Eve looked at the tree again. The fruit was indeed beautiful, shiny. She thought, "If it opens my eyes and makes me wiser, maybe it's not so bad after all." This thought grew in her heart until she gave in to temptation. She reached out, picked a fruit, and ate it. Then she went to Adam and offered it to him, too. Adam also took some of the fruit, even though he knew God's command. And suddenly, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not as they had hoped. They began to see evil, shame, fear. They realized they were naked and hurried to make clothes from leaves to cover themselves. For the first time, they felt shame. They began to be afraid. Their hearts were no longer light and happy, but heavy. Then, in the cool of the evening, God came into the garden. He asked, "Adam, where are you?" But Adam and Eve were hiding among the trees. They were afraid. God called them again, and, in a gentle but firm voice, asked them to tell him what they had done. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent, but God knew everything that had happened. Then, with pain in his heart, God spoke to them one by one. To Eve, he said, "Because you listened to the serpent and did not listen to me, in pain you will give birth to children, and you will have to live under the guidance of your husband." To Adam, he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the forbidden tree, the ground will no longer yield its fruit to you easily. You will have to work hard, dig and sow, toil and be weary. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Then, with great sadness, God made garments of skin for Adam and Eve to cover their shame. But he could no longer let them live in the Garden of Eden, where there was no room for sin. God chased them out of the garden and placed angels with flaming swords at its gate so that no one could enter. Adam and Eve set out, with heavy steps, into the outside world, a new world, where they would know fatigue, pain, but also hope. And yet, even though they had made mistakes, God had not forgotten them. He still loved them. He promised them that one day he would send someone who would defeat evil and bring people close to him again.